This is a response video to a comment I got on the spliced section of my look back video I uploaded on TikTok. You can check out the original video on look back on my main channel, where I talk about how Medium affects look back. I slightly mess up the overlay in this response video. How do people not understand this? Good question. The original abstracted point being that no amount of watching movies or anime or YouTube video essays or playing games is ever a true replacement for reading. Literature does something unique that other mediums can't do, just like every other medium is unique in its own way. This is a very basic milquetoast take, but I presented it in a pretty polemic way, and we are on TikTok/YouTube. Truthfully, it's a lot easier to conceptualize what games or movies can do over books than the other way around. But when you read, you have more control over interpretation and pacing, and there's more onus on you to understand what is actually being said and to resonate with it, whereas a movie or an anime or whatever can just pass you by. I think some people treat manga as like a storyboard for anime, which is a very reductive way to look at both manga and anime. Any great artist either consciously or subconsciously understands the medium they're working in, its strengths and limitations, and uses it to their advantage, and sometimes models a narrative around that medium and those limitations. This can naturally reach a point where the source material is so inextricably tied to its medium that any adaptation isn't going to effectively be able to convey the strengths of the original work. And you know who knows this? The director of Look Back.
原作自体がですね、非常にその漫画としての完成度が高かったんで、漫画は漫画表現として最適な見せ方っていうようなものをされているんで、映像に落とし込むときに普通にコンテを考えて設計する段階で、これはアニメじゃこのまま無理だなっていうところはもう。
So while the adaptation is very, very good and does a lot of things that the manga doesn't, it does miss out on some of the strengths of the original source material and does sort of diminish some of the qualities of the story in the original work. And you see this best in the critical reception and feedback to Look Back. If you want a better understanding of my argument, you can check out my video on this. As for why people don't understand this, reading is fun and trains a figurative muscle, but it requires a lot of patience, and patience is a commodity, and TikTok generally skews younger and more impatient. I'm not above this. Less people want to read, and the easiest way to justify that is to devalue reading.
It seems significant that we don't want things to be quiet ever anymore. When you feel like the purpose of your life is to gratify yourself and get things for yourself and go all the time, there's this other part of you that's the same part that can kind of is almost hungry for silence and quiet and thinking really hard about the same thing for maybe half an hour instead of 30 seconds, that doesn't get fed. It makes itself felt in the body, in a kind of dread in here. And I don't know whether that makes a whole lot of sense. It becomes more and more difficult to ask people to read or to look at a piece of art for an hour, or to listen to a piece of music that's complicated and that takes work to understand, because, well, there are a lot of reasons, but particularly now in computer and internet culture, everything is so fast, and the faster things go, the more we feed that part of ourselves, but don't feed the part of ourselves that likes quiet. They can live in quiet, they can live without any kind of stimulation. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not reading this shit, bro. What the fuck?